I think the biggest thing there is they already have a crypto native like customer base, right? So they already have people who understand cryptocurrencies. It's a lot less work when you're trying to onboard people who aren't necessarily in the space to begin with. Telegram, of course, they have a huge set of users that are not crypto native, but they have a ton that are already. And when you have that network effect, I really think they're going to have a lot of good things to come.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of WagMe TV. Today we're talking TONCOIN, ticker TON. The project's been on a crazy run over the last month and a half or so. So we're going to dive in, give you guys a little bit of background of the project, and then go into some technical analysis and take a look at the charts just to give you guys a perspective on where it could be headed and what the project is. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Ev to give us a little bit of background on what the project actually is.
So first, we'll start off by showing the roadmap and essentially what they've done. So the open network is an L1 blockchain that was built by Telegram. Yeah, the messaging and community platform that's been really crypto focused over the last few years. And so, as we can see, they've done a lot of improvements over 2022 and 2023. They've been able to integrate Telegram and TON, also put in stuff like wallet pay, and in the future we'll have ETH, BNB, and BTC bridges. I think something that's also pretty interesting is that directly within the Telegram application, we will have wallets for each person's profile. However, this is for non-US Telegram users, but super exciting to see how they're able to integrate their L1 blockchain within the actual Telegram app. So like they talked about, there's 80 million active users on Telegram at the moment. In 2028, they're expecting that number to be 1.5 billion. So the TON Foundation is really aiming to bring a ton of these users onto the L1, be able to maybe have it as the potential value transfer, native value transfer within the platform and token payment system. So with a general idea of what TON is and its relationship with Telegram, let's dive into some TA with Mata.
Yeah, happy to. Thanks for diving into that, Ev. Really just kind of looking through this, I mean, it's had quite an incredible run. So from February of this year to today, I mean, we're talking up 216%. So really, really incredible return over the last couple months if you were in on this. Definitely a couple warning signs flashing for sure. We have two really long-term trend lines. You can see kind of this lower trend line. We were bouncing on it. Then we actually broke through it. We've retested it a couple times. And then we were actually able to break out of it. We broke out of it, really cleanly retested it. So I wish I was looking at this chart a few weeks ago so we could have bought in. But we saw it soar to kind of these upper heights as well. So as you can see, these peaks match up with this most recent peak as well. So a couple things that we're looking at, right? It's obviously running into some resistance. The volume has trailed off a bit over time, which is typically not a great sign. But again, this thing has run like crazy. So if it's going to be a healthy chart, it probably needs to calm down a little bit, right? So what we would really want to see if you are a bull on TON is for it to hold this upward trend line here, give or take, right? Just kind of a loose trend line. We'd want to see it hold this level and have another try up at this upper trend line, right? Worst case scenario, right? You'd be coming back to retest this area that it broke out from, right? Which is pretty brutal. So this is really the line I'd be looking at if I were trying to stay bullish on TONCOIN. Again, if we can come back down here, retest this and just blow past this upper trend line. I mean, again, we're in price discovery. This thing could go absolutely wild. We've seen it in tons of coins throughout our time here. So really, really interesting coin, maybe a little bit overextended, but I love the mission, love that we're doing. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the competitors in the space and why this is important.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome TA. Honestly, I'm pretty bullish on the project. Like, I personally use Telegram like all the time. I feel like it's a very crypto native application, right? Definitely the most crypto native messenger. And when you go and you talk to anybody in crypto, whether it's you're exploring new projects or you're meeting people in the space, it's very common. It's not really like, oh, let me get your LinkedIn or anything like that. It's like almost always like, let me get your Telegram. So from that perspective alone, I think, given the TA, maybe we'll have a little bit of a pullback or something like that. But generally in the long term, I'm pretty bullish on what they're trying to build. I think the biggest thing there is they already have a crypto native like customer base, right? So they already have people who understand cryptocurrencies. It's a lot less work when you're trying to onboard people who aren't necessarily in the space to begin with. Telegram, of course, they have a huge set of users that are not crypto native, but they have a ton that are already. And when you have that network effect, I really think they're going to have a lot of good things to come, and a lot of promise for the space. So that's my personal opinion. I'd love to hear what you guys think too.
No, I think like the key point you made there was like they're one, it's crypto native, and two, they have such a large user base already. I personally haven't really used Telegram too much, but I was definitely surprised to see how many monthly active users they have. Like it's approaching 1 billion monthly active users, where something like X, or formerly Twitter, has like 380 million, right around there. So it's almost 2.5 times the size of Twitter, like to just put it into context. So I think, even though it's not everyone's crypto native on there, the total addressable market on Telegram itself is quite big when you're talking about, implementing a, payment system or a crypto wallet into something like that.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too, because we're seeing Coinbase trying to launch their own network as well with Base. And so, you see these platforms that are already well established in the Web3 ecosystem trying to build out potentially their own networks, and see what value capture is possible there. I think, we'll probably see more of this happening if there's success with TON. I mean, just from the token sales and the token run up, there has been a lot of success with this. And so I think we could see, maybe more platforms that are so integrated in the crypto ecosystem potentially launch their own networks just like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we always talk about. There's a lot of L1s out there. It's right, really running it down to what is the big differentiator here? Like, what can they do better? What do they have that others don't? The competition's fierce in the space. So, I mean, when you're comparing it to really the two leaders, right, you're thinking Ethereum, you're thinking Solana, right? It's the OG of smart contracts, right? But it's slow, it's expensive. Obviously, Ton is aiming to be faster, aiming to be cheaper for everyday transactions, right? So a very similar value prop to what Solana would be. So in comparison to Solana, right, another really high speed contender. Obviously, Solana boasts that impressive transaction speed, but what Solana might lack that Ton has is an advantage of Telegram's massive user base, right? So I think there are some areas where they could definitely shine, but again, competition's fierce. They're the new kid on the block, right? Regulation could be interesting here coming up. I know we haven't talked about that in a while, but still something to take very seriously in the space. So I think it's really going to come down to what does the Telegram integration look like? Are folks like Soham that are on Telegram going to be using it often, right? The more users, the more developers, obviously the higher the price and more value that this is going to have. So is it a revolutionary blockchain or currency, or just another hype project? I guess we're going to have to find out, but we're all personally pretty bullish on it, which is exciting.
Yeah, and I think one more thing I just want to add on to that, because you reminded me of it, is that the user behavior on Telegram like really supports what this payment system is going to do. With Coinbase, adding another network, you're not necessarily chatting with people or interacting with other users on Coinbase. With Telegram, that's essentially the native like feature set, is being able to integrate or interact with other users. So I think it's a great addition to the Telegram ecosystem.
Yeah, I think great points around the horn, and obviously we're going to continue to cover TONCOIN and the progress over here, over the next few months and through the bull run. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Are you guys bullish on TONCOIN? Have you guys been following it? Always love to hear from the viewers. But until then, till the next video, wag me.